Hello, and welcome to Pyro ASMR, formerly known as Pyro Talk. I was just kidding. Before we get on to the main topic of today's video, I just want to make yet another amendment to my previous entries in this series. Last time I said it was no longer possible to land a crit off the ignition from a volcano fragment hit. Not sure why it didn't work last time I tried. I suspect it has something to do with my listen server settings or configs, because if I create a listen server immediately after booting up the game, it seems to work just fine, like that. But I guess last time I tried, I had joined a server before creating the listen server, so it didn't work for some reason. If anyone has any idea why that might happen, let me know. But putting that aside, it seems to work pretty much 100% of the time in Valve servers and most public servers from what I've tested and experienced. So, again, sorry about that, I don't fucking know. Now watch me do this cool combo with this trick. Whoa! Okay, next thing, backburner. Backburner's pretty good these days. The back hit detection's a little bit fucky and inconsistent. I wouldn't rely on it too much, especially considering you lose a lot of your air blast capabilities and freedom. But here's a few cool things that you might find interesting. Okay, so first thing, back detection seems to be mainly based off which direction the enemy is facing versus the direction that you are facing when you fire a flame hitbox. So in this case, the enemy has his back to a wall, so I can't exactly hit him in the back from here. The box is blocking the correct angle. However, if I aim at the wall, but also at an angle close enough to the same angle that the enemy is facing, I can do full crit damage, even though I'm not exactly eclipsing with him completely. As long as the direction you're aiming is close enough to the enemies, it should crit no matter how the flames might travel after being fired. Okay, next thing, on a similar note, I have this bot set to mimic my movement, so he'll walk in the same direction as I am. If I were to aim at the ground so that each of my flame hitbox basically sticks to the ground and doesn't move, maybe aim a little bit forwards, and he walks into them, that's gonna do crit damage because I was aiming in the same direction as he was when I fired the flames and then he made contact with them. Imagine if I wasn't recording any of this. Fuck. Well, okay, that's close enough. So that's a couple things you can do with the backburner now. I don't know, I couldn't really think of much else that was very interesting about it. I haven't been playing with the backburner very much recently because I like to have a lot of freedom with my air blast and you can't really do that with the backburner very much. I don't have a whole lot to say about the Flug. It's not a very interesting weapon in my opinion. If you use this thing a lot, you're going to hell. I'm sorry, not my choice. The only thing I can really think about to talk about is the Taunt cancellation exploit, which I already covered in a video I made a few years ago called Rug Pull. Check that one out, it's actually a pretty funny video. But the way that it works is if you have a full meter ready to unleash your ultimate, if you can find a way to remove the footing below you while you're in the middle of the taunt, that will actually cancel the taunt short, meaning that you'll have the Uber effect that usually happens during the taunt, and that also means you'll have more time to use crit flames while the effect is active. Now, there's a few ways you can do this. If you're playing by yourself, the best thing is to try to jump on an enemy's head, activate the taunt, and if or when they walk away while you're in the taunt, that will cancel the taunt when you fall down off their head, and you can start flaming away with crits. The second way is if the enemies have buildings up, especially dispensers, and you aim your flames downwards so that the flames linger, and while they're lingering, you do a taunt, and the lingering flames destroy that building. That building you're standing on will be removed, meaning the taunt gets cancelled and you'll be able to move. There's probably other ways as well, such as you might be standing on the payload cart and then as it rolls underneath a part of the map, that pushes you off. Or another way, if you have someone to help you, you can have an engineer build a teleporter, entrance or exit, doesn't particularly matter, and you can stand on that and do the taunt and then have your friend destroy that teleporter, meaning that the footing below you disappears and you'll be able to run around with your crits. And that's how you do a rug pull. By the way, the visual effect for the Flug is completely cosmetic. The flame hitboxes move the exact same way as all the other flamethrowers, excluding Dragon's Fury, which I'll talk about in a second here. Okay, Dragon's Fury. So this thing's pretty cool. There's a few interesting things you can do with it. I don't use it a whole lot because I find the regular flame hitboxes to be more interesting. But still, I think it's a pretty powerful weapon in some cases, such as fighting engineers and their buildings. It's probably a better choice than stock or degreaser. And also, there's just some cool combos you can pull off with this thing, like that. And yes, you can even do the classic drop-down extinguisher combo. Or simply even shoot it in their face, switch to extinguisher, and hit them with the axe. It's really forgiving, the window it gives you to do axe and flare combos, this thing. Which, if you've watched the previous entries in this series, you would know is why I don't find it particularly appealing. Because it kind of takes away from what makes these types of combos impressive. Although it's still fun to, you know, destroy pyros with combos like that. I also want to talk about a few secondaries as well, starting with the Scorch Shot, which everyone's been ranting and raving about how it's so annoying and OP and what have you, which it is, but you can also do some pretty interesting stuff with it too. I just wish more people would actually try it, such as extinguisher combos like this one. You can't exactly do that with the flare gun, you know, there's a little room for creativity using the little dud that appears after you do a direct hit on someone. Another little trick you can do with the Scorch Shot dud, you can actually extend your Scorch Shot jumps by using the dud to self-damage yourself. I'll see if I can make one happen here. It's a little tricky. There it is. Here's a little secret. If you're trying to do this, this might help. I've never actually told this to anyone yet. This is top secret, guys. But if you try to shoot someone on the same team as you with the Scorch Shot, usually it'll just go right through them, like it does for many projectiles of this type. But if you make enough distance, or for example, if you have a friend on the same team, do a rocket jump and then shoot them, it'll leave the dud, and you can do a higher jump than usual. So if you ever wanted to do that for whatever reason, that is an option for you. Reserve shooter, I don't know, I don't have a whole lot to say about this thing. It used to be an annoying piece of shit. Now it's not very good on pyro, so probably just skip this one. The gas passer, I never use this thing, it's shit, I hate it. But there's one cool thing you can do, which is shoot it through thin walls, like you can with the guillotine on the Scout. But it's actually a lot more forgiving than the guillotine version of this exploit. For whatever reason, it'll go through thicker walls with greater ease, and you have more freedom in how you aim it. Panic attack is kinda cool, especially when combined with the degreaser. You're able to do the highest DPS on the pyro with that weapon combo. Although I'm probably not the best person to be talking about this, I barely ever use it. Man Melter, I never use this thing, so I don't really know what else to say, but you can also do the flare gun jump exploit with the Man Melter, not just the flare gun. Check out my long ass video about how to do that on this channel. Now, thermal thruster, and honestly, I was a little let down by how the thermal thruster worked in the end. After I saw how it looked in the first Jungle Inferno trailer, I got pretty excited, but you know, after a few uses, it's not that interesting to me. You know, it's kind of cool that you can get pyro to fly so freely on demand without doing crazy shit like reflect rocket jumps. But also, I think the thing that kills me the most is this long fucking switch speed. I hate this thing, man. Why can't I just have a normal switch speed like the other weapons? I don't get it. So I think that's the reason I don't really use it as much as I'd like to. Cool tricks with the jetpack. I don't really know what to say. I mean, I guess a lot of people know this already, but when you click and use it normally, you'll fly forwards. But if you're holding S at the time of the second thrust, you'll actually fly backwards, reverse the direction that you're aiming at. And I guess some people use it so that they can better orient themselves by looking at the ground for the direction that they want to fly towards, because you know, when you're looking at the skybox, it's kind of hard to tell which direction you're actually going. So apparently some people look at the ground when they're going for a highly precise thrust, although I almost always just look at the skybox anyway. That's just me though. Here's another thing. As you might know, using the jetpack grants you the ability to Goomba Stomp people. Like with the man treads, you can do damage by landing on someone's head after falling a certain amount, or at a certain speed I should say. You can actually do this after landing without using the jetpack again if you jump again at the exact moment that you land, or in other words, do a B-hop, like so. You will maintain your jetpack state and allow you to Goomba Stomp someone after you've touched the ground. And if you're wondering how I Goomba Stomp people in my videos without equipping the thruster, what you do is you disable automatic resupply, equip a different secondary, and jetpack into the resupply locker. And then if you hear a persisting jetpack thrusting noise, that means it's working and you'll be able to do Goomba Stomp damage when you're falling at a fast enough speed. You can get rid of this sound, by the way, by either recording a demo or using the command snd_restart to restart your sounds, and the sound will go away for you, but other players will probably still hear it, which might be a giveaway that you're around somewhere doing some goofy shit. There is another way to do this, by the way, if you don't have access to a resupply locker, or you wanted to do it outside of the resupply room for whatever reason. First, you do need to have the thruster equipped, and if you find another pyro secondary on the ground, do a thrust, and after the second big thrust, you pick up the weapon off the ground. And you can hear the jetpack sound, so that must mean it's working. Now you can do some shit like this. Kill a pyro in one hit. I guess that's it for secondaries. I don't really have a lot to say about the melees, actually. Even the extinguisher, believe it or not. All I can say is I like this version a lot more than the previous version, which was shit the few times I did play with it. I do have this idea of a dream extinguisher, you know, a hypothetical extinguisher with all the stats that I would really like it to have, although I don't know if anyone else would really enjoy this as much as I do. My idea is it's kind of like the original version of the extinguisher when it first came out. You know, it does low damage on a raw axe when the enemy isn't on fire. That is the base design of the extinguisher. And then it would do higher damage when the enemy is on fire. I don't know, let's say like 100 and something, 120 or something seems fair. And then if you hit the enemy within a very short time after they have been first ignited by flame, then it would do a full crit and it would do, say, 200 something damage. I just think this would be such a unique and fun and rewarding mechanic if it existed. It seems a little convoluted even compared to the current extinguisher stats, but I just, you know, wouldn't that be awesome? I just think about, you know, these combos that I've been doing for all these years, and you know, if it was somewhat more legitimized, how amazing that would be. At least personally for me. I don't know, if you guys think I'm insane, post it in the comments. That's pretty much about it. Sorry this took so long. I got kind of sick of making this type of video, honestly. It's kind of a pain. You know, I thought the idea would be that it would be kind of a low effort sort of thing, but you know, being me, I sort of just overthink this sort of thing way too much. Today I just decided to say fuck it and just get it out there without thinking too hard about all the details and numbers and all that stuff like in the last few. But I hope you still enjoyed it and you learned a thing or two. And thank you guys for watching all my stuff and supporting me. Appreciate it. Bye.